Welcome to Amy's Bookshelf Reviews podcast. I'm Amy Shannon, but you can call me Amy. Thank you for listening. Hello and welcome. I hope all is well with you. I'm Amy, and today I'm talking about the book called Murder Under the Red Moon by Sherri L. Dodd. It's a fictional book, and it's really interesting because it's a mix of thriller, supernatural, mystery, and it just kind of all comes down to the way it was written is such a interesting combination of genres, but also it's a seamless the way it writes. It's like, it's not one note, it's several notes. This story has different layers. It's got a backstory for the main character and currently and how she became who she is today, and then what she is about to face. The book description, actually it was released on March 21st. Just wanted to get that out there. So it is already out there. And the book description says that it's at the age of 8, Arista Kelly was frantically swept up by her parents and whisked off to an isolated town in California redwoods. 2 days later, her parents were gone. Now, at the age of 23, she settled quite nicely into an eclectic lifestyle, much like her great aunt and guardian since childhood, Bethy. She enjoys the use of herbs and crystals to help her commune with the energy and nature around her, and finds pleasure in the company of her beloved pet Royal. Usually quite satisfied with her mundane life, high in the Santa Cruz Mountains, life becomes unsettling when a new recurring vision of an ominous tattoo, as well as increased activity from the ghostly presence within her own cottage, invade her once harmonious existence. But life in this mountain sanctuary takes an even darker turn when the body of Arista's former classmate is found in the nearby river. As other young women fall prey to a suspected serial killer, Arista realizes the terror is coming to her. So yes, it is a very interesting story, and I'm just going to read an excerpt from the book. I'm going to read chapter 1, and hopefully that'll get you all amped up so you'll want to reach out and purchase this book. It is on Amazon. Chapter 1, It Stings. The dim-lit room beckoned Ian from the far end of the hall. He felt claustrophobic, floating along with the center of his view, sharp enough to proceed, the outer edges blurred to black. As he neared the strong odor beginning to irritate his senses, he identified tobacco, cacao, sandalwood, and the resins of the dragon's blood from the Southeast Asian tree that bleeds red sap. The scent was dark magic. He entered the warm glow of the room and saw 13 crimson and black candles dotting the space. 5 of the largest dripped their wax into clumps over a distant altar. In front of it, his brother-in-law, Fergus, busily worked on an object draped in black velvet. He tinkered with a glass vial before reaching for his ceremonial blade, and then holding it upward, he chanted. He drew nearer as Fergus lowered his athame and could smell the oil on the steel beginning to heat from the candle's flame on the altar. Dread began to clutch him, and the pit of his gut drew to a knot. Upon Fergus, he sensed the overbearing presence of his brother-in-law. He peered over his shoulder. It was a father's worst nightmare. He watched as the blade sliced deliberately deep into his daughter's stomach, releasing a gushing, deep red tide of lifeblood. An ear-piercing banshee scream, primal and agonizing, spiraled him out of his dream world. He woke with a yell, drawing Kira, who lay beside him. Oh God, he's doing black magic on her. He sprang out of bed and rushed down to Arista's room. Kira, hurrying behind him, while hastily fumbling with her robe sash. Ian, what is it? He burst into this 7-year-old daughter's room, Arista. Finding her safe, he bent down and stroked her cheek, but he still, distressed, woke her. Riz, honey, wake up. Ian, calm down, Kira. reprimanded. What, please, what is it? What did you see? Arista sleepily opened her eyes. He had found it harder to awaken her these past few weeks. I'm sorry to wake you up, but I've got to ask you some questions about Uncle Fergus. Okay, she said, squinting her eyes from the brightness of the hall lamp. He flipped a switch on her small yellow sunflower painted lamp, now bringing a spray of dimmed warm lighting across the room. After she tried and failed once more to gain his attention, Kira sat at the foot of the bed and with great concern held on to Arissa's blanketed knee. Riss, when you go to your uncle's house after school, what do you do? Arista rubbed her eyes. Does he hurt you? No. Has he ever talked about magic with you? No. What do you do over there? Arista looked scared and whimpered. Why? Honey, you're not in trouble. I'm sorry that we're doing this so late, but it's important, very important that you tell me the truth. I am. Her bottom lip began to quiver. Ian, you're scaring her. Kira laid behind Arista and draped her loving arms over her. He softened his tone. Riss, what do you do in your uncle's house? We play board games and I fall asleep. You fall asleep? Yes, and play games. He looked at Kira. The unfolding story did not set well. He was thankful he had acted on a gifted aunt's recent phone call. She had alerted him to the alarming prod of her intuition and danger that Arista was facing. Now he could see that his decision to astral travel into his own dream world, a gift he had abandoned a long time ago, was correct. You go to sleep in the afternoon? Kira said, asserting her question. You never do that here. I always get sleepy during games. Does he give you candles or drinks? His anxiety grew. He gives me a cup of almond milk. The anger boiled inside of him. Okay. He took a breath, trying to keep his cool, not wanting to frighten her. So he's never talked magic with you? No. Riss, I had a dream a few months ago. I was in Uncle's house and went into a room at the end of the hallway. Do you know which room I mean? Yes, but he doesn't let me go in there. You've never seen the room? No, the door's shut. Kira stroked Arissa's hair as he feared the implication. Fergus had promised Kira he had changed back to the loving brother he once was. He was clean again and not associated with any criminals anymore. Riss, can I look at your tummy just for a minute? Yes. He squatted to the floor as Arista lay down flat on her bed. Kira helped her daughter with her nightgown, pulling it up to her midriff, exposing what he hoped was the flawless flesh of a child's belly. As soon as the shadows of the fussing had cleared, he saw it and clenched his jaw, holding back the rage. How did your tummy get hurt? He pointed at the 2-inch gauze bandage covering her abdomen. She looked down at the bandage. I don't know. When did this happen? At Uncle's house. He flashed a hostile look over at Kira, who was welling up with tears. Do you mind if I take a peek? Okay. But as he reached for it, Arista changed her mind. No, Dad, don't. It stings. Kira silently cried while stroking Arista's hair. She wiped away her own tears that fell underneath her daughter, fell upon her daughter's abdomen. He took notice and noticed the betrayal was too profound for her to bear. I promised to be gentle. Kira continued to comfort Arista as he peeled off the bandage. The sobering proof was immediate. While it was not a gaping fatal slice in his dream, an inch-long dotted scratch tainted his daughter's precious flesh. It was still fresh, only days since Fergus had picked her up from school. Arista looked at the serrated scabbing rimmed with reddened skin, and her eyes widened with shock. Oh no, she hyperventilated as the confession came forth. When I woke up, he said I had an accident, but not to show you, or you would blame him and be mad. So that's most of chapter 1. There is a lot more to come, and I hope that you enjoyed the book as much as I did. It is that's just kind of like the start of Arissa's backstory and her parents, and it kind of gives you this picture of what we know is to come. If you read the book description, we know something's going to happen, and it how she lives as an adult is affected by what happens to her as a child. And those are the best backstories. And there are so many interesting powers within Arista that she is not even aware of. So I gave this book 5 stars and I posted it on its release date. I wrote, Sherri L. Dodd writes a thrilling, supernatural, mysterious tale of murder under the red moon. In Murder Under the Redwood Moon, In Murder Under the Redwood Moon, the reader is introduced to Arista, a young woman who lives with her great aunt and has a taste for herbs and crystals. She also has a power that she has yet to unleash. I haven't read anything by this author before, and what a hidden gem. I enjoyed it so much that I've now followed the author and looked for more books to read. I enjoyed the story from beginning to end. Arista lost her parents after they moved her to the Santa Cruz Mountains and then disappeared. She takes her sanctuary in a small cabin in the mountains. The plot has many layers, and the characters are just as deep and has a sense of growth throughout the story. It's part growth, and the other part is Arista's self-discovery. I love the mix of genres, and it seems to have come easy for this author to share the story in her head and put it on paper. Every nuance makes sense, and it makes you believe that there is something beyond what we see. A magnificent story that blends beliefs in nature, supernatural, and that mysteriously thrilling what's going to happen next. This story is a definite attention grabber, so much that I couldn't put it down. A reader can get lost in the story, and that's what I did. I got lost in this story. So I really enjoyed this book, and I hope that you will do the author a favor, pick up the book, read it, write a review, because those are so important to authors. Authors need to know how their readers feel about the book, but also, especially good reviews, authors can use reviews as promotion for their work as well. And if there's some things you do or do not like about the book, you can write those in your reviews. Just don't be disparaging to the author. Write a review that, even if there's some negative things that you don't want, you want to say, you can always put a positive spin on the negative. And authors can also learn about their writing based off of well-written reviews. And I say well-written reviews because you don't want to just say, oh, this stinks, and then the author has no idea what that means. And just a little plug here, if you are a reader and you're trying to figure out how to write a review, on my website, amysbookshelfreviews.com, on I have on Smashwords, on Lulu, for free, you can get the Amy's Bookshelf Reviews Best Reads review journal, and it's compiled with different stories of various genres. It gives you information about where you can buy the books, and also it gives you a list of questions that can help you write your review. So definitely write your review. If you are an author or a reader, or you're both, when you read something, just like if you would write a product review, reviews to authors are very important. So it also gives a sense to the author of how many people are actually reading their book and if they like it or not. So thank you. If you're an author and you want your book to be on the show, go to amysbookshelfreviews.com/podcast for more information. If you're an author and you want your book to be reviewed, go to amysbookshelf.com for more information. And thank you. And I will talk to you next week. This has been Amy's Bookshelf Reviews podcast. Thank you for listening. And always, be kind and stay safe. Thank you.